A criminal like Anas, very evil guy, very, very evil. And he continues to do that, even under MPP4, Eshelde Anas. And so, as far back as February 2018, now we have just been in power for 1 year. Now Anas, Ekoseti, MPP ministers up. You see somebody you have to believe more than me, Ken Agyapong. I have all the videos. And I've given you the date, 8 February 2018. Anas, that evil boy, was setting MPP people up to disgrace them. That's how he makes his money. Or blackmailing. And he saw I'm a swelling or no akasa or McGinna come crest also or where you crop for on where is journalist or unravel corruption. Or my country.
On the video, Bob, saying the video, Baba too, just said, and wasema. Okan war radio says or bad premises the bisa a man for M1 and omote ya was sign and check and a woo until one church him were interpreting about the cartoon page and a man for Shas here interpreting.
Mamma Cassim true. I'm Cassim true. Uni nipa. Assume he said me. Nam the cotu hona mo be a way. Who are winning yet Juma? Any panel a woo within 20 minutes. Maybe I'm in tape. Now, who they are to social media or the two? Did he even say good things about Ameswali? No sympathy, nothing. And when I will say he's behind it because he wanted to divert attention with one. Abentina Asemasi, police investigation, crying young course. Now, who was sending message to a congressman here? Some mimic saying, well, I don't Ghana for Magini Susasana. Ghana for Magini Susasa. A criminal like that now where nipa one Anas a kumkum Chinese pokumu. Now me call court to me kind.
I know any proof until honor yem for honor and Tony.
Me want proof when I catch you, please. I have
fast proof no my police for honor yen fair so cry. Yeah, but honor yen chaso until honor yen inside.
Crash it. I think Mr. Me want proof. I have all the videos of the Chinese people. What are you talking about? My court to crack can I radio so I've gone to court and stated it. Clearly, why are you afraid? Why?
I know what Canada Japan to share so far. No, what share situation now. As a more near my goose, so a coup and massy.
That penny, one now money your problem. Muamuti, Ghana, America, and with all due respect to some of Ghanaians, no, woman near Juma Papa Bianoa, woman sorry, social media, woman not Sassam way of many and come quote. And come quote because a new man person a year the boy Ghana. Yani said Jimmy Samnoa, a bimoti radio Sony TV so and they are comfort to say Anas or Jinko for Sassy, Roman sisters senum. Now when your soldier phone paying for you know, I will talk. And he a whole me problem. And I mean him, my catcher will say, him say, once I'm fighting for the truth, there be I'll get enemies. And he and Hamid.
I was in Sabria Minoka say dear. Oko he video na itwagu ye na se video na itwagu sisiano eye video on the 7th of September 2021 yewra honorable Ohene Kennedy Akompreku Agyapong any papa ba kwa friend Daddy Fred ewo United States of America have ye and we eye video Anas areme yaw Anas ejina so e de kobo Yewra Kennedy Ohene Agyapong kwadu ewo court in New Jersey in United States of America they ama ene wetin awini 8 million defamatory suit against Ohene Kennedy Agyapong abusia enye easy and ohwe nsem na ami say utie Anas ne lawyer na omo esan expertise another sika bia omo be den omo de bebe pounds no na omo enka omo nya be $30 million challenges o me si woni memra sometimes it me ye nima bia obeyi wani kura abusia nsem we enye nsem ketwa sa be mate se bloggers binu na social media na omo ka se o enye no kware e wa yesi enye no kware yenko na yina yenkoti sansen emu enchire mu how are you Kevin Ekobodutela dewu the workaholic man, in fact, the able journalist or Ghana ha me or Ghana ha edit say baby oh biano to so run or boy juma edit for my Ghana. In fact, Kevin Taylor I am for credit in a man. How we see Emma a motion and common is fire. Yenti and common said this equire. Yakoba Ednakaina ebetwaso your platform way so Yakupon Koswa Asia.
The court's decision, as we start at the end, the court is denying a request for mistrial, and everyone can file motions at the appropriate time, and the court will address everything after the motions are filed appropriately and then responded appropriately. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Thank you. Okay. Good luck to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for my breath.
Okay, Mr. P. You know, the interesting thing is, I quite remember that you were sued in the U.S. sometime in 2021.
Yes.
And that actually caused my clients to begin inquiring about possibly if there's if there was anything out there, whether it will be actionable in the U.S. Mm. So you have some significance to today's events. So shortly after, when you were going through your motion to dismiss, we actually took a keen interest in that case and reviewed all the pleadings. And during that time also, my client informed me of a video that was circulating on social media. I just say, and someone just like about my client. So, like, you know, as the intellectuals that we are, we started opening the books and try to see where we can lay a claim. It's interesting enough for me, after reviewing the video, I you know, in our training, there's something that we are taught. Say, in your case, case, no, it has to pass the test, and the case has to stand on all fours, which means that you do an analysis of whether there's jurisdiction in place, whether you have all the elements of each claim that you want to bring, you know. So we went through all of that, and my conclusion was yes, on the basis of video now, my client is send them, you know. You tweet back court New Jersey. Yes, and say, yeah, papa no video no so yeah, papa na nenumun sam kire say o kase fi ni fie New Jersey. Now when you say you chrome for so no the diaspora is very important. Obviously, what you do is testament to that fact. And you know, there was an audience that he spoke to. We're Ghana for. They all take a keen interest in the happenings in Ghana, especially the politics in Ghana. So we thought, you know, there was solid grounds for us to be in the court in New Jersey. So I advised my clients accordingly. Now, when you say, a lawyer. So obviously, he was an integral part of what was going on in the preparatory stage. At that time, I am a U.S. trained lawyer, but I currently only practice in Ghana. And you know, there was a team of us. I'd like to say congratulations to my learned colleague Oded Crow. He was a part of yes, he was counsel of record in Ghana. So I pulled him into the research, and we drafted a complaint. And like Mekai a lawyer, so we did the work, and he actually filed it himself. So, you know, after the preliminary back and forth, you know, initially, the case we sued in 2022.
Okay. Yes.
We filed suit sometime, I think. Sometime, I think, in the summer of 2022.
May 17th, 2022.
Yes. And, you know, by law, no, there was a period by which Yapapa no Anka was responding with what is known as an answer. But, so Papa no one file a response and my case no call into default. Now after a period of default, you know, you can actually go for judgment. Now a case near file, you know, we filed on 3 counts. But I couldn't say you a chrome or a chrome 4. The second one was or you would in terms of or behind the murder of Yenuya Ahmed Swale. Yeah. Now the third one, so say a serial killer in terms of Chinese Ghana. And then the fourth one is or a criminal, a blanket word criminal. And then the fifth one by implication, or say, what behind Woody Sembiana, that means say, Ebiana, no, a trigger man, and I will be and I say, perform the physical act that led to the foreseeable events, which is Obi. So we also included a count that he is that he claims that my client, or a co-conspirator in multiple serial killings. So that was basically the gravamen of our complaint. And when it went on undefended after the response time, now we began to make preparations to move for judgment. But being that I was in Ghana and we are all based in Ghana, we reached within our network and we partnered with two brilliant lawyers who I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate. Atawemega Esquire, he was the father figure of the team of lawyers, and a brilliant trial lawyer by the name of Andrew Dehere. These are all brilliant Ghanaian lawyers on this case. And, at that point, we recruited them as counsel of record. And, the case went, at that point, Kennedy's lawyers came in, obviously, because near Beji judgment for the full $30 million. And so he had counsel, and counsel came and also did his thing. Reopen default, they argued that they had a solid defense. And I think right around then, and I almost got judgments from Ghana, really see it. And I don't know, so say more defense to case I
because
New Jersey.
We knew Ghana, so our case no
exactly.
It's only by more case. Okay.
So as defense against, but the interesting thing is that defamation sits here no. Say kind of the work of court. It's a separate case.
Yeah.
It's not to mean Ghana and defending way. You still have to prove the truth of it. And this time, in this jurisdiction, the law is the same essentially because but you sound so free other countries. There are certain times that even though any of presidential value, I just said, dead into me, so India, but to me the two na senior especially in cases maybe you decided that type of a case. And Emrano is the same as Ghana. Procedurally, there are certain nuances. Sometimes in terms of certain dates, you have to do certain things by. And also in New Jersey, Emrano drafted complaints. We were fully aware that we were required to prove what we were claiming by a higher standard than in Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes, in this case, not even that. In this case, we were required to prove our case not by the normal civil standard, but by a clear and convincing evidence standard. Okay. And they responded with that, and they were able to successfully reopen the default, which paved way for them to file an answer. And they filed an answer which essentially claimed that there was some sort of back and forth between him and Anas. And, we took it for what it's worth and we forged on, and we finally got our trial date sometime earlier this year, and it was postponed. And then we finally went to trial last Monday. We started trial on Monday, and we put up our case. My client testified. He testified. He brought other witnesses, and after listening to both sides, senior answer na ever try case the difference between what happened with Ghana and see Johannes said trial by jury and judge or judge back one I say judge me no one say judge and send a bit but normal people on the streets of New Jersey, tax-paying citizens, and in this case, we started off with veneer. That's the technical word for when the prospective jurors are brought in. We're from a veneer. The veneer of 60 citizens, tax-paying citizens of the state of New Jersey, specifically Newark, New Jersey, and its surroundings, were brought in, and after what is known as Boadaya, which is the process by which they are questioned to see if they have any sort of bias or anything that will stand
for Ghana for your vetiomo. Say bia
vetiomo just said obi nim asem hu bia na so onimu bia asem we fan ho ana say obi wo hwa bia nyame bi osom no So we went through all of that. That was day one. That took from a year to the end of the day. And so on Tuesday, we came to court and we had our opening statements. They had their opening statements. And then we proceeded to put on our evidence. And at the close of the evidence, the jury was instructed, judge, in this case, judge, na jury no first. Paper inside. Aqua decide the different deliberations. Me but me sure say okay. Okay. And you know, there are some more about Thursday about 4:30. Yeah, the church room running now, and there are some more 4:30. Into now, yeah, I dream say we be an 4:30. No, yeah, caught a pump right around that time, which is I believe consistent with the practice I know it's consistent with the practice in Ghana. And no, yeah, no cry. I just so you be at Nana. Yeah, take a deep breath and reflect on what has transpired during the past 4 days. And about 20 minutes later, we got word that the jury. So as part of the defense, I think it's only fair that Meka charges counts now the buy and the civil claims now the buy. His defense was also although Oka said it was some sort of just based banter between him and Uniano, he came to court and accepted truth as his defense. And so
time I caught me say sa counting na mode bono no say on it and us back and forth, right? The on the claim of making or say banter I just say we can't wait internet and share or no you're not all can you say obi to be more almost tomorrow.
But all you do court media that was not.
And yes, I know what kind. Ura court no G2.
Yeah, be or maintaining the position say no can originate or down standing by no kind.
Okay.
Basically remember just or practice no creno D and onye boni bia.
Okay.
So to support that, no, or they move your child in it to who watches a watchman. But they are also by as on only defense, and so the jury had the opportunity to evaluate that and factored that in the analysis. And obviously, it was not the weight that they wanted the jury to accord to it. So the jury never bugui. And about 20 minutes later, the jury came back with a verdict, and there were a multiplicity of very quick. And there was a multiplicity of questions that were posed to the jury. That's the way how they arrived at the decision. It's and also unanimous. People who were picked off the streets of not picked off the streets of New Jersey, but they're to answer from based on address, voter registration data. And but within 20 minutes, they saw through everything and said no. So they came back and there was not even one juror that sided with Yapapana Samuakan.
All against
8-0 on every count and on every question that was posed to the jury, including damages now about no Biedun Komono. And also there was a unanimous decision. I just say it was a solid decision of the jury. 20 minutes on say there was no doubt in our presentation to experts in the law.
Yeah, they are just
these are lay
people who just sat and used their common sense to come to a conclusion.
No. I would not say use their use their common sense.
They listen to you and they listen to the other part. It makes sense though.
And then the law is the law. No judge in this world has any power to bend the law. That sort of conduct is what causes strife and war in places.
Yeah.
America had the judge actually before the judge read kind jury instructions, but catch jurors and say, "Oh no, only to be it's asem mu na you kwa between say obekanya actual and that's how it went. But you know what's interesting about Nisi and or a lawyer contrary, even though people don't give him credit for that.
At least Bonidina Anas asem na working.
But Anas, Anas, also a very astute lawyer. Onimumrapa, you be a dreamer. And and some people walk cry on Jim but sometimes a team of legal team to we come to a compromise. Now, he has been adamant about clearing his name because I have a personal experience of understanding. It's one of the worst things that can happen to someone.
Yeah.
And he absolutely took the position. Say he wanted a trial. He's not interested in any settlement. He's not here for the money. He's here to clear his good name that he has built over time. And in his profession, at this time, Anka also started doing one. So he always maintained that he wanted a trial to the point where sometimes there was a disagreement in the legal team. Now, procedurally, America, the peace. Said that schedule say, and from this time to this time, staff that work out we are dedicating it to your case. It's no small matter.
I know. I've been there. It's not easy.
Before they will go to trial, there's mandatory settlement conference. I bet say at this maybe by this time no will be say grown or they'll commit to the right senses and decide say this shouldn't go on because yes. And I acquire unfortunately me Anas disagreed with me, but I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million, just like the jury came back. As you know, these days we have all kind of tools that we can use to predict certain things.
Before you go ahead, this is where the contention is, and people saying 80 million, others saying a year 30 million. Now when you read,
well, we'll come to that. Let me clarify. Let me just clarify.
Yeah.
Okay, complaints the coin. Yeah, claim for $30 million, $30 million.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, and what I'm saying is that at the before the mandatory settlement conference, before the jury is empaneled, even though my client had firmly informed me he had no intention of settling this case because he believes that he ought to go to a jury of his peers to clear his name. But maybe let's just prepare our settlement memorandum, be thorough and be reasonable.
Yeah.
And even though he protested, I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million. Okay. Now you do settlement conference, about court. Now the lawyers just say what he was willing to settle this matter for, and they said $10,000. So honestly,
it's clarification is very, very important. Normally Ghana.
Okay.
Into Muko Drew Hono, and that's initially kind of simple street language, and the damages are not paid around $30 million. And while the client and Anas Kasa say a woman saw $30 million, and yes, he can't all pay. In fact, he wants his name to be cleared, and then the priority of going to court.
Yes.
But because of the experience, now unim sibi anyo matiano, no client here and ask and say it will be better and to be reasonable to at least settle on $80 million. And I'll say, no client and us, you did not really agree, but because he respects you as his counsel and as a lawyer, you people ended up around that money, around that figure, which is $80 million.
Oh yes, like I said, your lawyer at New York.
Oh, yeah.
And also come and Andrew D here.
Yeah, you are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. When my guy is there,
yes,
D here is there, Crow is there, yourself. Basically, as we are speaking to you, we are speaking to all of them because.
Yes. So the whole team agreed on that, but he was the only reluctant one in settling the matter. But procedurally, we couldn't go to trial without actually going through to the settlement conference.
Yes.
In spite of his reservations, we still almost cut our demand down to about a little over half.
Okay.
But to our surprise, $10,000 to end the case.
No.
And I want to arbitrate and who said no, some way I'm sure so I can papers, So he said basically go and take your gamble in the courtroom. So that's how we ended up going to trial. So to go back to how it ended, so at about 4:50 on Thursday, And the jury brought us in and they told us what unanimously what they had arrived at. But we decided to keep it under wraps because there was a component you multiply 18 million by 5 money do 90 million for a total of about
the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah, because
to do that. Okay.
Yes. And then you decided to say back to your board with coming public with the finding of culpability on Thursday.
Yeah.
We ended up leaving that alone. A pursuit of ×5 because almost file emotions be I just say or see a two in terms of that and sana say one way or another I could pursue that ×5 and I say depending on what happens say be I bit me German and cafe. But at this time almost my court no say into swore.
Okay. So at this point, Oma Makote who say ombeba 80 million or omo pentiswo. How many days do they have to file that?
Okay. So at this point, the next thing that's going to happen is that there's going to be a paper, a judgment. I just say court reading seal better so.
Yeah.
That will take a few days, and then after that, I believe there's a 5-day rule that's within which you can file that motion. So a bay motion, depending on how that motion goes. No,
okay.
We will get a chance. We may get a chance to attempt to get our ×5 of that 18 million, or a big jam and so depending on how that motion goes.
So for now,
yes.
18. No, Obintiminka said that is the end of the case. It depends.
No, it's not because hypothetically, so much as we still have the opportunity to go for ×5.
That is 50. Okay.
Yeah, into extra 50 plus. Yeah, hypothetically, so much as back 10 we can go for another ×5.
You as a Ghanaian and also a lawyer and defending a fellow lawyer who is a journalist. This has been an experience. Do you want to share something with us when it comes to these kind of defamations and how comparing our judicial system back home and in the States? I'm not forcing you to condemn any, but I'm trying to find out from you. There are so many people in Ghana, they don't really understand how the American judiciary works because we are so used to the Ghana style of judiciary whereby things go a certain way. And I would say sometimes very, very slow. And sometimes you need to know something for even things to move the pace you want. In terms of how this case, how fluid it went and comparing it to back home. I'm saying back home because I am more concerned back home. And especially when Kennedy presented a case where we knew fear, which is the same defamation case. And he tried to use that as a basis that what he did was right. From your experience as a professional, what have you? I don't want to say what have you learned. What do you want to share something with us before you go? Just...
Oh yeah. Me percent me share all the young people in Ghana. Me show them crying say yeah. Nah, the country is a young country, so I tend not to criticize too strongly.
Yeah.
But Oman and young people need to take their rightful position in the country because my only thing is that young people see that it's wrong or they know it's wrong, they need to stand up for their rights. The country is still young, so I would not be pointing any fingers at anybody. But me American, I'm a cool school from high school. I lawyer, and I know America very well. And for the past 7 years, I was licensed in Ghana in 2014, and I've been practicing actively for the last 7 years in Ghana. Yeah, I know the problems that we face. I think it's a systemic problem that allows people to hide in there to sort of engage in certain conduct because Democrats, say the system, justice system, if it does not guarantee justice, and then one day, there's going to be a problem. And Amano, I like to direct my comments to all young politicians, those who have entered the fray, about 40 and less, Let's not, if we see things that are not right, let's not say because you benefited from it because your party we want to say party we we're going to condone it. We all need to make sure that we are contributing to building a Ghana that we can all live in. And I would like to end on that. The system is not perfect. There are many things that we can do to also improve it. I will not talk about the substance of some of the things, but I also think the judiciary in Ghana is burdened with a lot of work. There are certain things that exist here in the US that they don't have that perhaps need to be implemented. Some of these judges in this country, in the US, are ably assisted by law clerks who help them lessen their burden. But like I said, the young people in Ghana, we need to look at ourselves, because I've had judges tell me, I've suggested that, and I've had judges tell me, no, go find young person cry, but run office on year, we want to say, leaky judgment at Jiska before the judgment is granted. So I will not be pointing fingers at, what happened in Ghana was a travesty of justice. I'll say that without mincing words.
Defamation, now Kennedy Winnie.
Absolutely, because I'm now a solid, which back to the maybe I can say, before a court can pronounce someone as a criminal, there ought to be a due process ought to be followed. And I have a publication that that's going to come out on this subject in a very near future. For the courts to have called my client a criminal without giving him a criminal trial was a travesty of justice. And the court in New Jersey rightfully classified that as obiter is dicta. It can never be a criminal conviction.
So that
because
was,
one of the pieces
that was how the court in New Jersey, the Superior Court in New Jersey, actually addressed that particular.
Yes, because the will be criminal. The will be criminal. You can bring proof to say the person has been adjudged to be a criminal. You understand? So the Ghana judgment by court jurors and when we brought a police clearance certificate at CID headquarters through the proper normal channels, we got it. It was sealed before we brought it to court, and that was giving more credence than what the judge said about Anas being a criminal, because that is the right thing.
How do you feel as a Ghanaian lawyer, a young Ghanaian lawyer, standing before a U.S. judge, making a statement like this from a court in Ghana? I feel it's quite embarrassing.
Like I said, our country is growing. We are the U.S. is 200 and something years old. We are 60 something years old. So I like to always look at things from an optimistic standpoint. I hope that this is going to be a lesson, because Ghana is not Ghana. Just by dint of even some of your papa no cry among food in Ghana. Ufa Uber Krumwa. I remember say in the middle of the trial, Uber via driver and I catch him say, I moved to Ghana, tourism country. Mano is young, but it's a country that we all need to protect and we need to guard zealously. And that starts from the delivery of justice, because no one should have to feel that they need to go outside the four corners of Ghana to get justice. Justice emanates from the people, and we have enough people in Ghana. About judges now, because I saw recently, judges know. TV, so they are educating people about the jury system. As part of our civic responsibility, it will also go a long way, along with amending the laws, to allow more juror participation in different kinds of cases now.
Lawyer Evans Salasi Adeka, or somebody Esquire. So thank you very much, and I'll also say thank you to your colleagues that helped. In this case, Andrew De Gea, also Arthur Wemega Esquire, and Aday Crow. I would like to say I really appreciate your time. You've educated us and also made things very clear to Ghanaians.
I'd like to point something else. So there were a few things that I think I glossed over. I think I told you said the threshold that we had to meet in the US was much higher than in Ghana. And in that regard, one of the allegations that was made is that you are a serial killer in terms of multiple Chinese what was appalling cry and say drew on video bia everyone buy say proof say proof say you know I'll be stand no say you know Chinese for no video no it was an embarrassment because drew on some video bia minim say prekona you namoya hangi wo unu say umko aboa hangi mamuja no sone no
and then on be sure say
minim say no kwemuni na catch say no ana say but it was definitely what he said he was going to produce. And I think that really disgusted the jury because and it's not something to accuse someone of likely.
Thank you very much for clarifying this. Ivan Selassie Adeka Esquire, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate every single minute you've shared with us here. At least we are to rest for now. From your explanation on this case we enya ende the response from the defendant, Ken Agyapong, the lawyers, so we're waiting for them to also file what they have to file. Now, I share where it goes from where we are now.
And just to clarify, any response, so omono and can I have times 5 for no?
Yeah.
The assembly attitude, just say, yeah, no person more. Now, for the sake of transparency, no, be in that time now, or yes, we be yano na. Almost them there didn't better so the almost them when you're why we did 18 na decided say we have some decisions to make. What I say chairman na kwa appeal, but the thing is appeal the difficulty is appeal US answer no bit me appeal he needs to put the full $18 million down in a bond answer no with me appeal and you know we I'm sure say depending on how that goes, we have the prerogative of deciding say we ever go for times 5 based on that 18 million if it stands, and I say almost so bad hypothetically says even 10 and I say 12 krana will still decide to say was up with a nice offer so bit canana I'm not saying because I told you no so a lawyer we'll work on we'll entertain that and decide say okay ABI times 5 no and I say because change now times 5 because there are certain other things that happen. There are certain things that also happen that will influence our decision one way or another.
Lawyer, we will be on standby, and I know, sir.
Okay.
Baby, I know we will come back for more clarification and education. We really appreciate you.
How? I was never not just say easy to say dear. Asem atukusi. Yeah, Papa Kennedy or Ken Agyapong and then Abu Aboni. One thing about Kennedy Agyapong is say, "Oh, you're a very brave man," and sa enema we na ekokkoso yi eye ade a na o fight ediama MPP amanyuko no so mbaka ya the moment Anas edi number 12 no eba ya ena Kennedy akompre Agyapong ehya asese oni owurawi edibisi ani oni owurawi edibebo ani na yura Kennedy so edi who watches the watchman ebayo abusafo ehonom ena asem no sha asese arise enti ubeka ya yura Kennedy Agyapong kra no wadi bim ewo Ghana ha wombra wadi Anas ekopie mo Supreme Court ema Supreme Court share Anas say o mewro nanim na on testify in what in court on veni nanim ema Anas anko ewiache na mo Supreme Court rule for him yura Kennedy Agyapong na wena owurawe also any lawyers Anas akeka anima si ani wombra ko a Daddy Fred any Kennedy Agyapong ekoka nsem bi edigu nanim ase ewo internet ni so aw copy ewo court a enei sa defamatory no na entia na eba ne se nanka Kennedy Agyapong ebese ko tua $10,000 na odi case no sweeping under the carpet but Uriah Feno, Anas Arimiyawa Anas say his name and reputation is at stake. And you know, on Jessica Bia Namum or bet tries or best settle matter in court. Could this be the only way Anas Arimiyawa Anas a finding say no. I was saying me bought a Ken Agyapong car. I was saying me money yika gidi. I need Urewe what my money yika pa no she. For baby enam ho. For baby enam ho. Ken Agyapong Japan pa etina court na onumi so. Ombre kwami hu bida. Ohwe ni lawyers a omosi omutiase and the demeanor and the facial description nature say nyama enkoyi. They are disappointed and Matisse Ken Agyapong are filing appeal on this case. You see, people will begin to reason when they are talking. People will begin to what? Rethink when they are what? Talking. Who make allegations be who evidence you will make sure that someone making it is alleged. So you put the word alleged. You put the word what? Allegedly. Now they can't was him because only evidence. But here papa compare ko de. Pufu no kasa utimika che journalist say nim to say bo fruit. Tell me mama hina sante. But anyway, media case no is still pending. Our muguso muye ho adwuma. You know, who am I to come and make conclusion? Of which said the lawyers and the judges involved. The door, they have not closed the door carpet of it. You know, I can't make any suggestion. But the mechanism, if Papa Ken Agyapong I hot. I was for comment to like you did mommy. Share na for any behavior. This is your number one authentic platform, Mega TV. You go to SM the best of news. My mommy cheba for United States of America. Yankupo ishame mama. Mama we be with UK and we be Mega TV no. Yankupo nkoswa ishraw. I'm for macro bibia. Bye bye.